Hi, it's Andy again with another sermon teaser, what we're calling Friday Fuel now, and I'm bouncing back and forth between doing it in my church office and here in the office at our house. So the obvious changing backgrounds, but we have some pending weather here in Missouri this week as many places throughout the country have just been bombarded with bad weather, winter weather this year. And so there's a couple of different options that I'm going to do from Philemon this week, depending upon the weather. But regardless, Philemon is a letter written by Paul to this man named Philemon who owned at least a slave, probably many slaves. The slave in question is Onesimus, who was sent to Paul, or at least spent time with Paul, for whatever reason that may have been, and he had value to Paul. And the irony is that Onesimus did not have value to his slave owner, to the master, being Philemon. The ironic part of that is that, and you can find this probably in your footnote of your Bible, is that Onesimus means useful or beneficial. And yet Paul kind of turns the table back on Philemon and says, well, perhaps you're not as beneficial as you think. Verse 6 says that I hope that you can become effective. Even though you're doing all these great things, perhaps you can become effective. And so, church, for us, the question that we have to ask ourselves is, well, this is tough. Do we think that maybe we're too good, too beneficial, or we're above others, as perhaps Philemon thought about his slave Onesimus? And because of that, he was blinded to something that Onesimus had done and cast him away as useless. And yet Paul said, I found use in him and you can as well. You should accept him back. And oh, by the way, in doing so, maybe you'll become effective as well. So I hope to see you Sunday as we unpack the rest of this letter. But just keep in mind that sometimes when you think you're at your best, well, God has other plans, and maybe there's still plenty of growth for you to undergo.